Shalom, shalom, shalom. Once again, Shabbat, shalom, as we're in the Sabbath, Shabbat, and we're moving into the new month Sabbath, the new moon Shabbat, which will begin today at evening and run till Saturday at evening. Um, as well as the current Shabbat that runs Thursday evening to Friday evening. So this would be considered a double Shabbat. So Shabbat Shalom to all who may hear. As always, we want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rahakodash. And double honors to my apostles and elders, the bishops, men of great millstone. Peace and salutations to the house of David, the 144,000, the men, women, and children scattered throughout the four corners of the earth of the hopeful elect. To you I say shalom. I have this disclaimer up because I'm going to be profiling a video of which will play in the background, but we will not put it on the screen. It's the breaking news. Vice President Vance delivers remarks in Greenland. We're just going to grab a few scriptures and, go through a couple of things and we'll pause and bring out scriptures accordingly as we hear different remarks from the Vice President of America, aka Babylon. So without further ado, as always, for us, the beginning of our lessons begin in Proverbs 9:9, and it reads, "Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding." So with that, let's get right into it. And again, this is the breaking news. Trump administration official speaks in Greenland. It's based ABC News. So this is why we gave our disclaimer at the beginning. So let's get into it, see where we come up.
Matter so much? Why does the mission of this space matter so much to the American people? And I learned a lot about that today myself. Of course, you can read about it in a book, but I saw it up close and personal. And if, God forbid, to my fellow Americans, if a missile was fired.
So the first that comes to mind is going to be Ezekiel, because if God forbid, but the Most High doesn't forbid. And then in the terms of Esau, Edom, the Most High has, he has set up plans for you. So Ezekiel 35, and we'll begin at verse 1, and it reads, "Moreover, the word of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate." And we're going to come back to that.
from an enemy country or an enemy submarine into the United States. It is the people here before us who would give notice to our brave men and women further south in the United States to let people know what was coming and, God willing, to try to shoot it down and prepare for it. That's one of the things.
So, number one, these bases in Greenland would be considered watchers. And let me see here. Slovakia. But this is just done just freehand, so to speak. So the watchman's duty is to blow the trumpet. You know what I mean? To sound the alarm, to declare impending danger, and and nothing is going to get this devil out of his impending danger. Nothing is going to stop that which is, being made manifest. This thing is coming for Esau, Edom, and there's nothing he's going to do. And this is Ezekiel 33:6, and it reads, "But if the watchmen see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hands." Now this was during the time of our people, but now, you know what I mean? Hey, like this devil just declared that these bases in Greenland, they're the watchers for Babylon, and simply put, they watch to give warning of the sword. And we know that Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to send this sword upon Esau Edom. You know what I mean? This thing is coming, and there's nothing he can do to prevent it. This is that's beautiful. It says, "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion," and that sound. Those are the watchers. They're from the apostles, the elders, the bishops, the men on the Great Millstone, and there's other camps. It's true affiliates who are blowing the trumpet. Putting that sound out of war, of impending doom, of danger. But the people aren't hearing it. The people aren't listening. The people are stuck in the mindset that they have been given by Babylon. It says, "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. For the day of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai cometh, for it is nigh at hand." And with everything that we're seeing, including this MOTB, this thing is being made manifest. They're implementing it right now on what we would refer to as a subtle state. In other words, it's being brought in, but you're not being made aware of it. All of the infrastructure is being put in place. All of the necessities to make it run and it's not going to be flawless by any means, but it's going to be all encompassing. It's going to cover the whole earth. You know, Scripture says, what is that? Let me see here. Yeah, this is Revelations 13, and we'll start at 16. We'll start at 15. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive. You know, and you don't receive sin. You don't receive embargoes. You know what I mean? You don't you and you know, not really even not even talking to you people no more, man, because you're not going to receive the message because it's not meant for you to receive it. You're meant to continue down the path that you're doing. But to the rest, it says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So hey, these things are coming, and not just coming, but they're here. It's just in a subtle state right now, so it's not really, you know what I mean. It's visible, but if you're not looking, you're not going to see it. But when you see it, it's kind of like, when predators hunt, you don't see them, but you can sense. You can sense that something is there, that there's danger in the air, but you don't see anything. But then when you see it, it's already too late. And this how this mark is going to happen, because the prophets have been warning you. You know what I mean? They've been telling you time in and time out. You know what I mean? What this is, what to do to avoid it, how not to do it. Don't do this, don't do that. And yet your teachers teach you otherwise. So when the time comes, that trumpet that was sounding in the holy mountain, you're not going to have heard it. You're not going to have received it. You're going to be left out there vulnerable, you know? And, man, hey, but what I wanted, and that verse is powerful. It says, verse 7, it says, verse 6, it says, before their face the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march everyone on his way, and they shall not break their ranks. So now going back up here where he said, they're going to get an early warning, and then, well, I'll let him say it.
Is that we do at installations like this. We know that Russia and China and other nations are taking an extraordinary interest in Arctic passageways and Arctic naval routes, and in the minerals of the Arctic territories. We need to ensure that an enemy country or an enemy submarine into the United States, it is the people here before us who would give notice to our brave men and women further south in the United States to let people know what was coming, and God willing to try to shoot it down and prepare for it. That's one of the things that we do.
So again, as I read, when that time comes and these enemies do set out to devour Babylon, these weapons, these the armory of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, when it is opened, these devices, man, they shall march everyone on his way, and they shall not break their ranks. There's nothing going to be able to be done to protect Babylon in that day. You know, it says, neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk everyone in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. So there's nothing going to be able to be done to take these things off of their set course. The Most High has a plan, and he's going to destroy this place. You know? That is the plan of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai.
At installations like this. We know that Russia and China and other nations are taking an extraordinary interest in Arctic passageways, in Arctic naval routes, and indeed in the minerals of the Arctic territories. We need to ensure that America is leading in the Arctic, because we know that if America doesn't, other nations will fill the gap where we fall behind. So,
and for this, hey, we just have to go to Micah 2, and it reads, we'll start at 1, woe unto them that devise iniquity. And we know that, despite its claim, we know its claim to fame. Despite how it presents itself, we know that underneath, when the dress is lifted, that it's a festering cesspool of iniquity, of abominations, of deceit, of wickedness, of manipulation, of conniving, of just, it's rotten. It's rotten to the core. It says, and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it. That's this place. That's Babylon the Great. That's Mystery Babylon. It practices it. It creates these massive militaries that it can go in and subdue other nations' wealth, other nations' resources, other nations' people, other nations' property. It comes up with these elaborate ways of making them look bad in the media, telling everybody, oh, they're doing this, that, and the other to their people. Therefore, it's America's right now to go in and violate these people in the name of demon rule, and as Elder Manaka Elder Malcolm always says, hey, grenade. Whenever that word comes out, democracy, it should be followed by grenade, because it literally is something that they come in to your land with and destroy everything that still has a hint of wholesomeness or a hint of goodness to it. And they call evil, matter of fact, hey, because that's what this devil does, man. This devil is good for this right here. This is I'm gonna just read it. It says Isaiah 5:20, and it reads, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. And that's Babylon. That's America. You know what I mean? Everything that the Most High sets up as the way it should be, America declares that evil. Esau Edom declares what is good to be evil and what is evil to be good. You know, for a man to have more than one woman, evil. For a man to have another man, good. For a man to walk in the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father, evil. For a man to do as he will, good. And the list goes on and on. This devil, there's no end to his abominable acts and ways. But back in Micah, and it reads, verse 2, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house and his house, even a man and his heritage. And we're seeing this all throughout the globe, not just in this place. These people in Greenland, they don't want them there. And you're not going to see that here, but they're protesting as this devil is speaking. When this devil and his wife went over here to Greenland, they can't go off the American base because the people of the land don't want them there. But when these devils, and if I would show you this picture, it's a bunch of Edomites, and all ready to, go against whomever and whatever tells them that they have no right to be where they're at. Esau feels that anywhere he goes and sets up his little mayhem shop of horrors, that he has a right to be there, and that when you resist him, you're the insurgent, and that justifies him in whatever means of murder that he needs to commit to convince you that he has a right to be in your land.
What you got to do is critically important. I think a lot of Americans, certainly I, didn't realize it fully until President Trump started talking about the importance of our Arctic mission, about building upon it and ensuring that America can lead in the Arctic for the next generation. And now I want to talk about, of course, the interaction and what Denmark, I think, has done, and sometimes in partnership with us. But let's.
Do you own your own home in Arizona and are still paying for electricity? You could be missing out on free government assistance to go.
Be honest, what Denmark over the last 20 years has.
And they really. They really believe Slovakia. Slovakia. There we go. This is another. I'm gonna just read it. This is Psalms 49 and verse 11, and it reads, "Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names." And that's what this devil, hey, what do you say? To, generations. They're setting up to keep this place, you know what I mean, in robbery and rape and murder to, all generations.
Has failed to do in some cases because we know that unfortunately this place, this base, the surrounding area is less secure than it was 30, 40 years ago because some of our allies haven't kept up. As China and Russia have taken greater and greater interest in Greenland, in this base, in the activities of the brave Americans right here, we know that too often.
All right. Hey, this is because America, it's really has bullied its so-called allies into submission, into the things that it wants done. It says, "The pride of thine heart hath," this is Obadiah 1:3, and it reads, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?" You know what I mean? It's this devil. He thinks just because he's told these people what he expects them to do, that they're doing it without question. But in actuality, they're preparing something even better, according to the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And let me see. Oh, there we are. Verse 7. It says, "All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him." So as Esau continues down the path that he's on, thinking that, everything is set according to his will, what he'll soon come to understand is that none of this is set for his good. Nothing that he has done is going to prosper. But it will prosper for those waning moments of his inevitable demise, as he begins to realize that all his efforts are going to have been in vain. And we see him even today moving in desperation.
And our allies in Europe have not kept pace. They haven't kept pace with military spending, and Denmark has not kept pace in devoting the resources necessary to keep this base, to keep our troops, and in my view, to keep the people of Greenland safe from a lot of very aggressive incursions from Russia, from China, and from other nations. Now,
and the only one making the incursions is America. Like I said, if you were to examine the surrounding area right now while he's in this military base, another one of America's garrisons that it has throughout the entire planet. You know what I mean? I think it's 700 and something military bases throughout the world. The other nations don't have that. The other nations aren't doing that. And the nations that are dealing with this are beginning to realize, and for a lot of them have already recognized this and have truly, had their fill of it. They've had enough of it. From the things that these American soldiers do on their land, what they do with their women, what they do with their, in their cities. They violate, and you can't say anything, you can't do anything to them. Whatever they do, America justifies it, and balks at whatever attempt to get justice, and this is with its own so-called allies. So the time is coming, man. Hey, shoot. Hey, those that are Confederates with you, those that are in league with you, they're really beginning to separate themselves. They're seeing more and more how America is really treacherous, and how it uses subtlety to go about to taking advantage of people that are supposedly on its side. A lot of the world is no longer being deceived, but see that financial aspect is really what keeps this place, in good graces with these other countries, because of the money that these other countries. That's why when the time comes, the merchants of the earth are going to, stand afar off, wailing, because that money is going to be cut off. But this isn't really money. It's a debt bearing note. It's only debt. It only brings debt to your nation. And as these nations begin to, really grasp that, they're going to understand that that the American currency is backed by nothing, and the American government is no longer a good faith. It never really was, but it's losing all that so-called good faith. You can't really argue that anymore, because it moves like a man. What's the word? It's so up and down. Every 4 years, you have to deal with a new government, which it can be tyrannical. Every 6 months, America is moving from one. Are we gonna pay the bills? Are we gonna let it all bounce? What's America gonna do? No one can ever tell. Is the government gonna? We're gonna end up having to shut down the government every couple of months. It's like it's just a rocky, continually, uh, you know, insane situation.
President Trump, as he says all the time, and as a lot of people recognize, is a president of peace. We want to have good relationships with everybody. That includes, even to the extent possible, the Chinese and the Russians.
So, as declaring a president of peace, but he's allowing the small hats to continue on with their open and blatant disregard for so-called international rule. Their uh, perpetual G word of an entire nation of people, and nothing is being done to slow that down, to curb it, to control it. These other nations have literally there's warrants out for this man's arrest, you know, BB, but yet, what he's begun to do with the so-called Hamas, over there in Yemen, that sounds a lot like peace. And there's going to be no peace for this land. Babylon is not going to be healed, and Babylon is not going to see peace. America has been in some form of war for probably 90% of its existence. Most likely even greater than that. I'm lowballing it. But America has been in a perpetual state of war since it came into an existence. And it's never going to stop until the Most High brings an end to this place.
But part of having good relations is showing your strength when you have to. And unfortunately, the story of Greenland over the past 20 years when it comes to security is that we've underinvested in the infrastructure, we've underinvested in the security architecture, and we've underinvested in the brave men and women who are doing a very hard job, as Mike said, to keep all of us safe. That has to change. Now, when I pointed out a couple of weeks ago that in some ways, with all due respect to our Danish allies, they had not kept pace, there was a lot of criticism from Denmark, a lot of attacks at the Trump administration, at the president, at me, at others in our administration for saying the obvious, which is that Denmark hasn't done a good job at keeping Greenland safe. And one of the things I heard was, well, what about the many Danes who lost their lives in the war on terror fighting alongside the United States? Well, look.
Let's see if we can. I just want to see something once. How many times has Greenland been at war? Greenland has been involved in wars in the past. So they were involved in World War II. Greenland entered the war when the United States declared war on Germany. Contact with Denmark was broken off, and Greenland introduced rationing, daylight savings time, and printed its own currency and stamps. Yes, Greenland has been involved in wars in the past. Let's see. Let me try this real quick. How many wars has Greenland started?
According to Wikipedia, wars and conflicts involving Greenland through its history. This category has only the following subcategory.
So right now it's only really showing Green as being in a war in World War II, and that was most likely because it was dragged into it. But there's no Slovakia. There's no showing where, you know what I mean, Greenland has had this need, because Greenland doesn't go around imposing its will and doing all of the things that America does. America needs a massive military because of the treachery, because of the chaos, because of all of the carnage that it imposes throughout the world. Rome 2.0. The whore that rides upon the beast. This whore kicks it off a shit ton with people. So there's a reason why these other nations, man, they don't need militaries like this place. They don't need to have massive, military budgets. And the reason that a lot of them are beginning it now is because, what does the scripture say? Yeah, this is Joel 3 and 10, and it reads, let me see if I want to start up a little higher. Yeah, we'll start at 9, and it reads, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh." Man, man. Hey, so we know that the battle of Yahweh Shaphat is close at hand, you know, and we know that it takes time for these nations to build up these armaments. But during that time, we know that the MOTB is going to be brought about. You know, there's things that we understand that must take place before this Hamagad one. You know what I mean? There's things that are going to take place. Make no bones about it. Make no bones about it, man. Well, let's listen to a little bit more, and we might do a part 2 on this because, I mean, we really haven't even. We're only a few minutes in, you know, but it's a lot happening right now.
We obviously honor the sacrifice of our Danish friends in the War on Terror 20 years ago, just as, for example, the French honor the sacrifice of Americans in Normandy 80 years ago. But recognizing that there are important security partnerships in the past does not mean that we can't have disagreements with allies in the present about how to preserve our shared security for the future. And that's what this is about. There is no amount of bullying, no amount of obfuscating, no amount of confusing the issue. Our message to Denmark is very simple. You have not done a good job by the people of Greenland. You have underinvested in the people of Greenland, and you have underinvested in the security architecture of this incredible, beautiful landmass filled with incredible people.
And you hear the arrogance of this devil? Like I said, Greenland is prosperous. It doesn't have to deal with any kind of chaotic situation. You don't hear about terror T word going on in Greenland. You don't hear about any of that because they're not involving themselves in the minutia of the things that America does to take other people's property, to set these different things in motion to, you know, come in and act as though they're the heroes, but they're the ones that sent the villain in. And now they come in and then they act as though they're beating back the villain. So now you owe them, you know. Shoot. And when you get into these different, so, you know, hey, a lot of these things were caused by Esau Edom and driven by his lust for power and manipulated by these, you know, these superpowers, you know, basically America. America has had its hand in all kind of different atrocities that take place, and then sit back and act as though what I didn't do anything, you know. And now everyone else has to capitulate and be part of the so-called solution, but the solution only benefits America. Then it turns around and points its finger. You're not protected. out of who, and I know these people are like, who are you talking to? We're not, Greenland ain't having the issues that you have, you know?
That has to change. And because it hasn't changed, this is why President Trump's policy in Greenland is what it is. It's consistent with the first Trump administration, where you saw significant investments in Arctic security, and it will continue over the next 4 years under President Trump's leadership. And let me finally, before I kick it over to the media, make one comment about the people of Greenland. The colonel here, the base commander, who came here first as a second lieutenant, and I guess, Colonel, this is your second duty station here, and we're proud of you and proud of all of you guys who are serving and helping keep us safe. I heard a lot about the respect that our American troops show for the local Greenlandic population, the way that we make and create shelter for hunters and dog sledders, the way that we found ways to turn over traditional tribal land to some of the local populations in order to ensure that they're able to live in accordance with their values. We respect, as the president said in his State of the Union address, we respect the self-determination of Greenlanders. Excuse me.
Man, yeah, this is a good one. This is, it's it's so many here, but yeah, this is a, we'll get that one, because I mean, I always like the way the Apostle Tahar said, how can you tell when they're lying? Their lips is moving. You know. Oh, that's a nice one too. It says, this is Hosea 10:13. Ye have plowed wickedness, ye have repeated iniquity, ye have eaten the fruit of lies, because thou didst trust in thy way, in the multitude of thy mighty men. Man, and that speaks volumes to Esau Edom right now. You know, I mean, at that point, at that time, I believe it was. Let me see, is that Ephraim? Yeah, I mean, it was either way. At this point, it was Israel, but now, because a lot of times these scriptures can be, brought back. This is a living document. So now, when we see these same lies, we see this wickedness that's being plowed. It's Esau Edom plowing it. It's Esau Edom committing it. It's Esau Edom lying about it. You know, trying to convince us that he's somewhere doing good. That, you know, he who can do no righteousness is somewhere doing righteous. This is Isaiah 59:4. It says, "For your hands are defiled with blood, and your fingers with iniquity. Your lips have spoken lies. Your tongue hath muttered perverseness. None calleth for justice, nor any pleadeth for truth. They trust in vanity and speak lies. They conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity." If that doesn't speak volumes to Esau Edom, I just don't know what does. You know? And on that, you know what I mean? Hey, this is Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 13. And it reads, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil." So with that, I'm going to close by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ra'al Kodash, and double honors to my apostles and elders, bishops, men of great millstone. Peace and salutations to the house of David, the 144,000, and the men, women, and children scattered throughout the four corners of the earth of the hopeful elect. To you I say, Shabbat Shalom. Shalom.